And I thought this was a path last time.
Yes, okay,
So I fell to my death.
At least people get more of my fun stories this time. That's good. Alright, everybody. If you're enjoying this so far, tell us. Just please.
Yeah, it's about to end, so...
Vince is predicting that it's near the end of the game, which I can see him thinking that. Oh, geez, Reaper. The Reaper says hello. He also says he has rocket launchers on his back. Now he's dead.
He didn't do that too much damage.
No. For having rocket launchers on his back, I think the Fallen Souls are doing more damage to you. But yeah, so guys, I was talking about signatures and the con. It's only 10 a.m. and I spent the whole day at the con. Woo! More stories! So, when I went to Diva's booth, the actress's name is Charlotte Chung. She is a South Korean native who became a voice actress. And literally most of her work is Blizzard games. So she's lent her voice to Hearthstone and Overwatch and Diablo.
Nice. I like all those pretty much.
So that's what she's famous for. So at her booth, she had a ton of Diva merch that was also for sale. So it was mostly to display, to be like, yeah, I'm that lady. But it was also to say, hey, you can also buy these if you want, and I'll sign them, you know?
Yeah.
It was one of those things. So she was being a lot smarter than most actors there. Because most actors, you know, they just have a suitcase and they're like, print. If you want something personal, it's here. But she also brought a big stack of Diva Funkos and, like, her, you know, her headphones thing.
That is crazy smart.
It was very intelligent. Mercy did the same thing, but they sold out really quick. Because people were idiots and they didn't bring their own, and they're like, yeah, I'll buy the Funko from you and get it signed, you know? So, she's like, you see anything on the table you like? And I'm like, I made her laugh, so like, I like that Diva Funko right there. Unfortunately, I brought my own, and I reached in my bag and get it. Mm-hmm. And then it was funny, because it was fighting with the pop protector, and I was like, oh no, she's fighting with her box a little bit. And then she made a joke, she's like, yeah, she could be feisty. You know, stuff like that. And then when she's like, oh, what's your name? And I said, Nate. Then she gave it, as I was saying in the last part, the little Diva, like, cheek stripes. She said, to Nate, nerf this, love Diva. She filled up the whole box with pink ink. Mm-hmm. So you can also see that one from across the room. Because pink and light blue are Diva's main colors, like, for her standard skin.
Yeah.
So that's what people think of when they think of her. So, of course, she went right to the pink pen, did that, and she did a great job. And it's very cool. And then at that point, I was like, it was like, I don't know, 11:15. Took me about an hour to get Chris Sabat's signature and the two Overwatch actresses' signatures. And at that point, also, Steve was still in line in Chris Sabat's line trying to get that. So I texted him really quick. I'm like, I'm gonna head to one of Vince's lines. And he said, okay. So I looked, and Marina Sirtis' line, crazy long for what I was expecting. Like, it was intense.
Yeah, I would not have expected her line to be long.
And then Gates McFadden's line was a little bit long, but Michael Rooker's line was a little bit shorter than Sirtis's. So I was like, well, I personally want to meet Michael Rooker, and I know that's the most expensive Funko Vince has to get signed. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll head over to Michael Rooker's line. About halfway through that line, I turn around, like I swoop my head, and half of the people in line have ECC exclusive Yondu. And they're just holding and they're just waiting. Some of them were the circular sticker, some of them were the real sticker, you know? But I was just waiting, and I was like, wow, everyone had the same idea. And yeah, Michael Rooker did ask a little more, but he did a good job. He was a nice man. Oh, shit.
Oh, we're red. Red room.
Red room. I mean room. But went and met him. Extremely nice guy. Super down to earth. Doesn't change his voice at all for any of his roles. He sounds exactly like Yondu. Exactly like Merle. He's the same guy. But the people in front of me were a family. Mm-hmm. They were getting two signatures. They were getting a Funko signed for the dad of the group and a print signed for the daughter. But the daughter was super shy. So she kept hiding behind her dad. So Michael Rooker was playing off that. She's like, go on, sweetheart. I'm a nice guy, I swear. You know, like that. In his Michael Rooker-y voice.
Yeah.
It was extremely funny. And then he got up to me, and I was talking to him. I was like, you know, the usual, how are you liking Portland? And his response was weird. He's like, I don't know. I got here about 2 hours ago. And I was like, okay. And I was like, what other events have you gone to? And he said in the month of September alone, he's been to 3 cons already. For signs and meet and greets. That's intense.
Yeah, I can see that.
He totally forgot the last one he went to, and what he did is he opened the drapes behind him. You know, there's like a cloth behind him, and he talked to his agent. He's like, hey, where did we go last? And she's like, oh, it was in Tennessee. And he's like, oh, a Tennessee Comic-Con. And I was like, really? 2 days ago you were in Tennessee? And he's like, yeah, it was great. And he did something special on yours, because on most of them, he just did his crazy signature on the front and handed it back, but he noticed I was a fan. So he rotated to the side, put Yondu as well, so he signed the side of it too, and then he handed it back to me.
Nice.
So, you're welcome there. I was thinking about talking about you to him, being like, yeah, this is for my buddy Vince, but then I was like, nah. I mean, I could have. And before I even asked him to put anything special on, his signature is giant.
Yeah.
So there's no room to put
anything. Took up all the plastic.
There's no room to put anything else there, so I understand. But that was that. That was pretty fun. And then at that time, I'm like, sweet, I'm going to go to Mrs. Sertis's line. And then, like, 10 minutes before that, it got capped. So there was a lady there, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, she'll be back at 4:15. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I rotated my neck, and McFadden's, like, booth looked like it was folded up hastily.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell's going on? And there was, one of the employees was like, oh, she wasn't feeling well yesterday, so she retired yesterday early, and I think she might not be feeling too well today. So she packed up her kit early, and I was like, crap. So what I did is I snuck over to the line, and I looked at the prints, and none of them were good anyway. Like, they were all, like, group shot ones, or ones that they expect you to go to her line, and then Michael Dorn's line, and then Sertis's line, and then, you know, get all the signatures.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things. So I was like, oh, fine, you know, screw it. And then I talked to Steve and them, and I was like, I'm going to go explore the con really quick. So I zigzagged through Artist Alley, then I zigzagged through the main show floor, and then I got a bottle of water that was overpriced.
Oh yeah, they take advantage of you on those.
On the foods.
On food and water and anything pretty much.
I mean, I filled it up like 4 times at the water fountain, so I got my money out of it. But like, you know, I just needed something to drink because I was like... So we did that, and then our meeting point, they had... So the dragon from Dragon Ball Z, like the main one that grants wishes, is called... Oh wait, I'll shut up for a second. Oh my god! So, the main dragon who grants wishes in Dragon Ball Z is the plot of Dragon Ball. All 3 of them, as soon as you want to watch that show, is every time there are 7 Dragon Balls scattered throughout the universe. If you find all 7 and position them in a circle and summon Shenron, who's a giant dragon who grants wishes, you can have 1 wish. If you are eerily specific and you're like, I want this to happen. So, of course, in the plot of the show, people use it for bad, people use it for good, people use it to bring people back from the dead, you know, stuff like that, you know? So, above the Dragon Ball booth, because they had a gigantic booth for Dragon Ball, because it's an anniversary of it, and it's also, they're doing a world tour at specific Comic-Cons to promote the games, to promote the movie coming out, to promote the new seasons coming out, you know, stuff like that. So there was a giant Shenron with some Dragon Balls over that booth, so that was our meeting point. You're like, hey, meet us at Shenron, you know? And the Dragon Ball booth was incredible. It had life-size statues. I think I saw your
picture of Shenron.
Yeah.
So
they had giant life-size statues of people, so you could of the characters, so you could pose with them. The background was the World Fighters Tournament, which is how a few of the seasons end when a whole bunch of fighters get together and like beat the crap out of each other.
Speaking of Dragon Ball, did you watch Dragon Ball Evolution, the movie they made out
That's
of
terrible.
it?
It's terrible. It's so bad. If you watch the anime, you're gonna be like, oh my god, the movie was terrible because
I own the movie. I've never seen any of the other stuff.
You should totally watch the anime though, or play the game, because then you'll like it more. So there was that. The Funko booth was god awful. Most of the stuff I recognized from last year, which upsets me a little, but I understand. Like, I went to the Dark Horse Comics booth. They had some of the same lanyards, the same, comics that they were trying to advertise. I went to some artist alleys, and some of the same artists were there with the same exact prints.
You're not one of them. I thought everyone else was gone. I was part of this. I helped them.
What?
The madness of opening to another dimension. Look, we don't have much time.
It's all your fault.
We let it through. The evil.
I'm about to blow your head
protective
off.
Stabilizer on the portal.
You're probably gonna have to escort him or something.
Took the device.
You see this shotgun I'm carrying, bitch?
Ruins. He took it into the portal, and hell followed him out.
Uh-oh.
You have to help me first.
I'm not gonna help you.
You started this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get the teleporter systems running again. The areas are destroyed around us, so it's the only way through this part of the complex.
Damn.
You need to find me a working plasma inducer.
Okay, I'll find one.
The teleporter working. You can look for it in operations. I have a security clearance. I'll unlock some doors for you.
Okay, so he has security clearance. It's to a restricted area. He'll unlock the doors.
And we're gonna go
Go find that
do
specific
it.
part he needs. Yeah.
And when we get back, he's gonna be dead.
Yeah, of course he is. Or he's gonna get maimed like right when you pick up the part he needs. Yep. Yeah. Decontamination. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
You got a Nate.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, man. So after that, I explored the con, had fun at 2 o'clock, because all the people in the group I was with were like way fatter than me, a little bit lazier, and I've never experienced a con. So by like, I don't know, 3 hours in, they're like, oh, my legs hurt, ow, my back, oh, I'm hungry, you know? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, fine, we'll pull aside, we'll go get food. I suggested actual restaurants. They suggested, you know, the stuff in the neighborhood like Burgerville and, you know, Denny's. And I was like, no thank you on either, because I've had Burgerville and they're okay, and I've had Denny's and no thank you.
Nothing special about Denny's.
Yeah.
I don't like Denny's at all. And Burgerville was like, meh.
Yeah, Oregon natives are going to hate us, but it's okay. Their fries are good, their shakes are good, their burgers are alright.
Where do we gotta go?
But so after that, we went to a food truck and they had Peruvian chicken bowls. So I had a Peruvian chicken bowl at the food truck. Then I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna do one more sweep and then I'm gonna go get, you know, Vince's last signature. They were like, okay, dude. So we went back in. I got a couple more things at Artist Alley. I talked to one of my artist friends. I talked to Burnt Pixels. We went around the con a little bit more. We went to, because this year it was really weird because they were also sponsored by Anime Bashi and Playfair PDX, which Playfair PDX is like a little kids expo where it's like, you know, baby's first Comic-Con kind of thing. Yeah. So that little corner that was PDX sponsored was all like kid activities and things that like 7-year-olds would really like, you know, stuff like that. And then the Anime Bashi section was all anime themed stuff, so it was like a mini anime con in the Comic-Con. It was really weird. I didn't spend much money though at the con. I got like 2 prints, some free stuff at the Dragon Ball booth, and my 4 signatures. Mm-hmm. And at that point I was like, okay, it's 4 o'clock, I'm just gonna get in line now. So we all walked over to the celebrity area, which is the same as last year. And I got in Marina's line, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And then it was 4:30, and I was like, okay, she was supposed to be here at 4:15. What the hell? And I waited, and I waited, and then it was 4:45, and then an employee, like, opens the drapes, and she's like, I'm sorry, everybody. She spent too much time with the photo ops and the VIP photo ops. She's going to be retiring early. She'll be here at Sunday at, like, 2 p.m., and I didn't have a Sunday pass, so I was like, okay, fuck it. You know, and that's when I texted you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm sorry, Vince. And then at that point, the 2 friends of Steve's split off from the bunch. We went back to the car, and we went on the dusty trail. I showed up at my house at around 10:30, and I was exhausted. And yeah, I had a good con. Only bad thing about it was that one of my prints did get ripped because the Diva Funko stabbed it a little, mm-hmm. which was one of my Pop Team Epic prints that I got at the con. Which that upsets me a little bit, but if I frame it and I take care of it, then you won't be able to tell.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
They might have ways on the internet too where you can repair something like that and make it look less
rippy.
Yeah.
It is like a line rip, like this long, in the middle of the print, because the corner of the Funko like bumped into it at a weird angle. Like, it's kind of my fault because I brought a giant ass, you know, Funko con bag. Oh, another story that's extremely stupid about the con. I brought my Funko bag from Emerald Con, yeah? Mm-hmm. It's a really good eco bag. It can fit so much crap in it. I brought it, and everybody, like, so many nerds stopped me. They're like, how'd you get that bag? There's a booth here, right? You got the bag from the booth. And a lot of them accused me of getting the last ones. And some of them got mad at me, and they're like, I want your bag. And I was like 2 people did that to me. It was so weird. Usually cons are, like, nice. Everyone's buddies, everyone's friends.
Yeah.
But, like, 2 different people on different occasions demanded that I give them my Funko bag. And I was like, no, I got this from Emerald Con. It's mine. Back off. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was extremely weird. That was the only part of the con that I was, like, genuinely like, what the hell is with people right now? Other than that, great con experience. I got lots of nice things.
Nice.
And I am already saving for Portland Retro. My budget is going to be $300. Which, if I get the money that Steve owes me for the half the hotel and half the car, plus the little bit I'll pull out of my bank account, will be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be nothing. which will give me enough for ROM hacks and everything. You done?
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I'll take time to read emails off the clock.
Okay.
So I can get the code for the elevator. If I don't have the code, then we'll search for it on the next episode.
Sounds good. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next adventure in Doom 3. Later, dudes.